in the computer room.
The story has often been told, and it's completely true, that he would get up at night and leave and go over to work on the computer and come back, and we wouldn't know that he'd been gone.
As I recall, the headmaster here was asked at a parents' meeting once, "Do you have a drug problem here at the school?" And his response was, "No, I don't think we have a drug problem, but we do have a number of students that are hooked on computers."
Bill Gates shared this addiction with an upperclassman named Paul Allen. They could not have been more different. Allen was 2 years older and substantially larger. Allen was quiet and contemplative. Bill could be shrill and confrontational. Who knew this odd couple would change the world?
They bonded by writing software code together, and somewhat competitive, Paul Allen and Bill Gates. They every now and then would have fights. At one point, Paul Allen kicked Bill Gates, who was a little bit younger, off of the little group they had that was writing software, but then he realized that he needed Gates back. He couldn't do it without him, and Gates said, "Well, I'm happy to come back, but this time I'm going to be in charge."
By 1970, when Bill was just 15, he and Paul Allen went into business together. They made $20,000 with a computer program called Trafodata, which measured traffic flow in the Seattle area. Although Bill had the luxury of family money, he was determined from the start to make his own fortune.
The father of one of Bill's boyhood friends said Bill always had a nose for the dollar. Even as a kid, he knew the value of a contract, and even had a contract to use his older sister's baseball mitt that was signed in a legal document.
In the summer of 1972, at the age of 17, Bill went to Washington, D.C. to work as a Senate page. His exposure to politics and government would come in handy later on. Back home that fall, he took a leave of absence from school when he and Paul Allen got their first real jobs with a computer company. But when they began talking about starting their own company, Bill's parents insisted their son finish high school and attend college.
His mother used to worry that he was socially awkward. Well, maybe he was, but he had other things on his mind, and he was not rude, he was not abrupt. He was marching to a different drummer. He's a genius, and he has a different agenda.
Bill graduated from Lakeside in 1973, and his parents took great pride in his acceptance at Harvard University. But his destiny had already been set in motion. It was computer-driven. In the fall of 1973, Bill Gates said goodbye to his family and Seattle and headed east to Cambridge, Massachusetts. As a freshman at Harvard, he thought briefly about preparing for a career in law, but no course of study ignited his imagination like his work with computers.
Bill was somebody who was always very determined.